Just got back into my email marketing this week, and I just actually published a newsletter yesterday. Actually, my weekly newsletter is called the Tuesday Journal. The email that I just put out yesterday probably took me 45 minutes to write. So I thought that this would be a good idea to share with you all some tips, some advice, especially if you're an entrepreneur, small business owner like me, and you're just starting out and you're like, oh my God, email marketing just feels so hard, or it feels like just intimidating trying to sit down and write emails, staring at the cursor and you're just blanking and nothing's coming to you. That's what this video is about. I'm not an expert in email marketing, but I can give you some basic tips and advice on how, as a small business owner and entrepreneur, write emails, write basic, simple emails. We're not doing anything too crazy over here. So if that sounds good for you, then this video is for you. I think one of the easiest ways and one of the best ways to get people to stick around and actually read your email and then even come back for the next email, especially if you do like I do and write a weekly email. One of the easiest things that I do is I focus on storytelling. You might have heard about storytelling and maybe it still feels a little confusing to you. So I'm going to give you an example about storytelling to hopefully make it all make sense. So these are my notepads. And so I actually have two different ones here. So these are my music notepads. And then this is the strawberry notepads. So these notepads were a part of a previous collection that I was supposed to launch this summer, but it just didn't happen that way. And summer was pretty much over. So I decided not to launch that collection. But I still like the idea of keeping the notepads. So I'm putting these notepads in this collection that's coming up, but that's neither here nor there. So this collection was about being at my family function, the summertime, being out in the backyard barbecues. And I was just thinking about all the different foods that we ate. We would have strawberry shortcake for dessert, hence why I made the strawberries. And then the music would be blaring, artists like Michael Jackson. My dad was a huge Prince fan, and the Gap Band. Can't forget about the Gap Band. Love it. We would all just be chilling in the backyard, listening to the music, just feeling the music vibrating through our chests because the speakers were so loud. Man, summertime backyard barbecues in Chicago was the thing. I loved it. Even though I was very shy and very introverted, even with my own family, yes. But I still loved listening to the music and, of course, the food and the gathering and everything. So that was really nice. And so I don't know if you see what I just did there, but that was basically the story of how I created or why I created these notepads the way I did. I can talk about the music and the bass and the beat just vibrating through my chest because the speakers were so loud. Like that right there is telling a story and connecting the story to the product. And hopefully through that, people can really feel something versus me just saying, go buy my notepads. I'm not just saying go buy my notepads. I'm genuinely telling you why I decided to create these notepads. But hopefully through just sharing my story, people can connect with that. And that's why they would want to click the button and then go buy a notepad versus just me saying, click and go buy my notepads. I'm actually giving them a full storyline here as to why I created these notepads in the first place. I want to give you another example for if you have clients or customers, you can also share or tell their story. So say, for example, they left a comment on your social media or on your website or something like that, and they let you know that maybe they were struggling with acne or they were struggling with eczema and they have been struggling for years, for their whole life. And they finally tried your skincare products, like your healing serum or whatever it was. They started to see results in as little as 6 weeks of them using it. And now they've been using your products for about 10 months now. And they're able to finally go outside and wear short sleeve shirts now. And they used to not feel confident in being able to do that. They would have to cover up and wear jackets because they were so embarrassed with how their skin looked, or even how it felt, like how the sun beaming down maybe even hurt their skin. And so they had to be covered. That's a story that you can tell, and then you can share that with other people and then share your product. So going into a little bit more depth and detail can not only help you create the connection with your audience or the client or the customer, it can also actually help you sell the product, which is what we want here. You can come up with endless story and endless content by just sharing stories from your past experiences, your client or customer's past experiences, a current or future experience that you're going through. So say, for example, you don't really write weekly emails like I do, where it's a full-on newsletter and everything, and maybe you still want to do a weekly type of email. You can also throw in discounts, flash sales, and maybe even something like polls where you are voting on a future product that's going to drop in an upcoming launch, and you want to maybe ask your customer what colors they want. For example, 3 different notepads or 3 different art prints, or maybe you have a fashion business where you're trying to pick out upcoming fabric for t-shirts or something like that. Then you could also say A, B, C, or D. Which colors do you want? Which fabric textures do you think should be in the next upcoming collection? So that way you're getting people involved. They're then going to reply and respond to the emails. You're getting people to reply and respond and getting them engaged. So that's really good, by letting them know that you are preparing for the collection and you do have products that are coming up. They're going to be looking forward to that. I have a few general tips too to help you write emails. If you see me looking down, I'm looking over at my notes. I think that it's really good to have short paragraphs that are easy to skim, because if it's too long, it's going to be harder for them to want to actually read that. I know when I first started out, I probably did this, and over time I learned how to start breaking up those paragraphs so it just doesn't look like a full long paragraph block of text, and it just makes it harder to read. So things that you really want to stand out, you can also bold the text. I wouldn't do everything bolded, but a sentence that really has to stand out, something that's really important, like a launch date or something like that. You can also use color to highlight dates or links, especially highlighting the links in a really fun color so that it can really stand out from the rest of the text. And also highlighting or boldening dates or addresses if they're coming to a certain market or an event. That's another way to really make the text stand out, something so if they are skimming it, they'll easily be able to see that. Say you have points that you're making in your email, adding headers or headings to that can really make it stand out so they know that they're reading another, or it's moving on to another paragraph or another tip. It just really helps to break things up a bit. So make sure you're adding headings or subheadings. This one is very important, but making sure that you're only doing one call to action. I'm going to maybe include a button that says, click here to buy the notepads, or purchase your notepad here, grab your notepad here, or something like that. I wouldn't maybe then talk about my keychains and my clay pens and my art prints. I like to keep it pretty simple with my call to action at the end of my email. Since I write these every single week, I always say I'm a click or a reply away, or I'm a click and a reply away, just to let them know how simple it is to reach me. They literally can just click reply and just let me know whatever their response is to whatever the topic is in the email, and then I'm going to reply to them. And then I always end with talk to you soon, because I realized that's how I would say goodbye to my boyfriend whenever he leaves for work. I always say, see you later. So of course for email, I put talk to you later. So that's how I pretty much end all of my email. Of course, play around with this, see what works for you with ending your emails, but keeping the call to action pretty simple and straightforward, so people don't have too many things to do and click around. It's more than likely going to make it a lot easier to start seeing some type of conversion conversion starting to happen, whether that be a sale or somebody clicking to your website, somebody clicking to watch your video or whatever it is, or somebody clicking to see a piece of content that you put out, that's going to make it a whole lot easier. So you make sure to keep the calls to action pretty simple. And you want to also keep your emails fun and simple. Email marketing doesn't have to be overly complicated. It can actually be really fun. So I like to add a lot of emojis and stuff in there too. Even in the subject line, I like to put emojis in there. I think it really helps and it gets people to actually click on it and it just makes it fun. So whatever paragraph or even short text that I put, of course, because again, I break up my text in the email, and whatever that paragraph says, I always just like to add an emoji or two that's really relevant to whatever I just said. Or if it's a feeling or an emotion, I will, like if I'm being dramatic or something in there, then I'll put a dramatic emoji. But if it's something very lighthearted or something like that, put a smiling emoji. It doesn't have to be strict in there. It can be fun. So have fun with your emails, add emojis, add pictures. You can even put memes in your emails if it's really relevant to that. So just play around with it and have a little fun with it. It can actually be really fun. I love email marketing for that reason, because I feel like it's not like any other marketing where it has to feel too many rules or too strict or anything like that. Email marketing is not like that. It's probably, next to YouTube, email marketing is probably one of my favorites now. So I also know that writing can still feel kind of intimidating if you feel like you're not a good writer, or just sentence structure, because that was me. Sentence structure, I don't know. Punctuation, don't ask me where the punctuation goes. I'm a little bit here and there with punctuation, but sentence structure, really knowing where to put the sentences and how to really make it flow, that's where I struggle most. So if you're like me and you struggle with that as well, then I would highly suggest using tools like Grammarly, for example. The free version works just fine for me. I used that before I started using ChatGPT to help me with things like that. So Grammarly is one of them. You could just literally copy and paste. So say if you wrote your email in your notes or wherever you wrote it at, you could just copy and paste it over into the free version of Grammarly. And for the most part, it's probably not going to correct everything, but it will highlight and show you if you have spelling mistakes or run-on sentences. It will normally highlight it in yellow, I believe it is, and it'll show you if you have any mistakes or run-on sentences or anything like that. And on the free version, it will occasionally even show you a better way to write it. If it's just a big run-on sentence or something like that, it'll show you a better way to write it and give you a suggestion of how to change that whole paragraph. So Grammarly, I highly suggest Grammarly if you want to try that one. And I would also suggest ChatGPT. But hear me out when it comes to ChatGPT. I do not mean to use ChatGPT to write your entire email. You almost have to train ChatGPT to understand how you speak in the words and stuff that you use. So I really don't recommend asking it to write a full email for you. But what I would recommend is you just writing the email. And now that you know more about storytelling, how much easier is that going to be to now just tell the story like you would tell it? You can even talk it into your phone, in your notes app, talk into your phone and just tell the story, and then proofread it yourself as best you can. After that, if you still feel like the email is just not working, I would then suggest popping in the paragraph or something like that that you feel like is just not working in the email, because that's what I do sometimes. I will say, keep my words. Don't get rid of the words that I use. Keep the words that I use, because I want this email to sound exactly like me. So please don't get rid of the words that I use. Just make sure to tidy it up and tidy up the sentence structure and maybe the punctuation. But other than that, please don't change my words. And for the most part, it can really do well. But of course, I've had to train ChatGPT to do that. When you're first starting out and you first start using it, it probably won't really work that well and keep the words that you say and use. It has to get to know you first. So I wouldn't advise you to just pop in your email and be like, correct me, because it's probably going to change every little thing that you say and rewrite it how it wants it to be rewritten. So that's why I wouldn't suggest that right away to do it like that. But if you want to pop in a paragraph or something like that and say, can you make sure that this sounds good, or make sure the sentence structure is there, or the spelling or anything like that, I would highly recommend you learning how to proofread your own newsletters and things, because I think that'll just get you more in the habit of learning writing. But ChatGPT can also really help you get a draft going. So then from there, you can say, how do I start this? I have this idea, and can you help me understand how to write a beginning, middle, and an end to this email that I want to send out? And that could be how you get started. But again, I highly encourage you to just start writing and write out your story, how it happened or how you experienced it, and then proofread from there. So that way it can just flow out as naturally as possible. And over time, I swear you're going to learn, you're going to get better at it, and you're going to get used to writing. So don't be too hard on yourself for your first couple of emails. And also, to keep this as simple as possible, I just use repeat templates. And it's especially helpful because I write emails every single week. I don't have to keep reinventing the wheel here. I just copy and paste that same template, and then I just paste in the new words into that template for that week. And so even if you do more discount codes or flash sales, you can still start with the same template at least, and then you can just adjust and change from there, whether you want to make the text bigger or switch out the pictures or something like that, or switch out the text. You don't have to start from scratch. And besides having to start from scratch, I would highly recommend just sticking with a template, which brings me to my next point. I absolutely love Flowdesk. I have been using Flowdesk for 2 years now. I absolutely love it. And so that's where I get all of my templates from. I just use their templates and it works, and I absolutely love it. So I thought I would turn my camera around and show you my actual Flowdesk. And I wanted to just show you a recent email that I sent actually yesterday. So I basically used the template, and I'll show you what the template looks like first. So right here, it says, let me get closer. So right there's a button on the right side that says new email. If you click that, it'll take you to the screen with all of the templates. There are so many templates in here, and you can use any one of those. Once you get a subscription, you can use any of these templates in here. So I believe the template that I used was just underneath the plain text. I just wanted a simple email. So these are the plain text emails that they have right here. And all I did was just pick one of these. I think it was this one. I can't remember. I believe it was this one. And then I just customize it. So here's the desktop view, and then here is the mobile view. I just absolutely love their designs and everything. It's just so easy to use. I absolutely love it. But anywho, you can click on the customize it button, and then that becomes your template. And I've already put my logo in here. So anytime I click a new template, it will just pop my logo in there. You can also change it and do a picture if you want. And you can go in and you can change your fonts and everything like that. Over here, it'll give you a list of fonts that you can choose from to change this up. You can also put your fonts in here as well. But I do realize that they don't let you, if you're using certain templates, it won't let you change to your own font. I have no clue why that is, but I just pick any font that's close enough to my font. It doesn't have to be that big of a deal when it comes to email writing. You don't always have to follow everything super by the book. I've learned to just let it go and get started. So you can see right there at the top there, it'll say like dear first name or friend. So if the first name is unavailable, you can type in anything that you want here. I like to just put dear friend. So if they don't, like when they fill out the form to get onto your email list, if they don't input their name, which I have where they have to put their first name, but if somehow they like bypass that somehow, then I would also like include dear friend. I like to say friend or hey so and so. just so it's a bit of a warm and welcoming greeting there versus saying dear, but you can keep it as dear if you want to. And I also put a little emoji. I'll show you my actual template in a second, but this is just the simple plain text template that I've customized now. And so now this template will be in my list of templates. So if I go back here, and as you can see, we're back where it says my emails now in the dashboard. So now that template is now in my list of templates. So before you actually send an email to a subscriber, you can go here where the little heart is, where it says save to favorites, and then you can just type in whatever name that you want. And I just put the Tuesday Journal because that's the name of my weekly newsletter. And then I put template there so I know not to write on that one or change it in any way. And then once you type all that in, hit save, make sure it's saved, and then that'll be in your templates from now on. So let me show you that. So anytime I go up here to new email, and then I go to my favorites underneath where it says what's your goal, I go to my favorite, and boom, bam, there it is in my list of favorites here. My newsletter will always be there, and then it'll treat it like a regular template, like the other templates. So I can go here and click customize it. So now it's just going to keep on, and I can keep using it over and over and over again. All I got to do is just take out the text or whatever, and then that's basically it. So I just want to show you a little bit of the breakdown of this email that I sent though yesterday. So again, right here at the top, it says, hey friend, I put a little emoji right there, or hey first name, whoever is being sent to. And again, you can always change this. You can totally take this out if you don't want to have it at all, but I highly recommend just having a nice little greeting there, something warm and friendly. But anywho, so this is the body of the text, and it's pretty long, but that's again because I give branding tips and social media advice. So it is a pretty lengthy email, but it also looks that way too because, as I was saying earlier, I really space these so it doesn't look like this big block of text all combined together. I try to space it out. Another way that you can space out your text too is doing bullet points. This is another great way. So if somebody is skimming it, they can easily just see these bullet points here. I don't know if you can see the difference right here too, but I also bolded out this word or two right here because I wanted to make sure that I was clear on what I was saying right here, because I said I stay in my lane. So I wanted to make sure that people were clear about what I was saying, staying in my lane of expertise. And then I hit bold right there to make that stand out so it's clear exactly what I'm trying to say. And so this is the body of the email. And then if we scroll down here again, this is where I put, I'm just a click and a reply away. And this is how I normally end all of my emails. And then, of course, that talk to you soon, Tamika Marie, and then all my social media and everything is down there at the bottom. So this is basically how I write my emails. And because I'm trying to create some separation between my weekly newsletter where I give branding tips and social media advice, I'm trying to create some separation between that. So this one is different than my actual newsletter where I give branding tips and stuff like that, because not everybody will be subscribed for the same thing. And I know that people that are looking at my notepads and stuff, for example, they may not be interested in branding tips. So for them, I have a different template and a whole separate different opt-in, which I'll show you in a second. But there's a whole different separate opt-in for that. So the people that get on this specific email list that want discount codes, that are maybe interested in my behind the scenes of my physical products, I just basically keep them in the know about anything to do with my physical product store. So if you even do stuff like this, would be a template that I can just keep reusing over and over again. And I would just, of course, swap out the title and everything, and swap out the button, text and everything like that. And then the body of the email, all of that would get switched up and changed up depending on whatever I'm sending. And this is what I mean by the form that people subscribe to. So I have a few forms here, actually. This form is a little bit different. This is called a landing page. So when somebody clicks the link in my bio or something like that, they're going to land on this as a full page. So they're going to see this as a full page. So let me show you. I'm going to copy this into here. I'm doing this with one hand, but anywho, pay, enter. And as you can see, this is a full landing page. So from that form that I created, it gave me my own personal link here, and it'll walk you through the steps of this. So I really use this on my Instagram. There's a picture of me, and then here's all of my links and everything that you can go to. It looks the exact same when people click the link and actually see it in their browser. So that's one type of form. And then I have two other forms. And then this is the form that's on my physical product store. So I just kept it simple where it says good vibes, good deals. If you subscribe today, you get 10% off and you'll be the first to know about new releases. So when they put their first name and their email in this, they'll go to that email that talked about getting a 10% off discount code. And then from then on, I was saying I can send them different product launches, and I can even do polls and different things like that just to keep them in the loop and everything like that. I'm just getting my website and everything launched. So that one goes on my physical product store. And this one also goes on my physical product store as well, but it goes in the about me section. And I did them separately because, again, somebody might want to opt in for physical products, but I also wanted to give the option on my website if people are entrepreneurs or small business owners and things like that, and they want to subscribe to the Tuesday Journal. So once they put their name and their email into this one and subscribe, then they'll be on the list to get, let me show you. So once they put their name and their email into that, then they'll be on the list to get the Tuesday Journal over here, that template. I have a whole nother form here if somebody wanted to opt in for my freebie that I have as well, but that's a whole nother thing for a different day. It just has everything that I need in here, just everything. I absolutely love Flowdesk. I had to turn my camera back around, but anywho, so I absolutely love Flowdesk, and it is just so easy to use. When I first got started with it, I was a little and fiddling around with it a little bit too much because I didn't really truly understand it. But if you just go and you click on a template and then you adjust that template, I'm telling you, you're going to have the most easiest time with email and email marketing and writing emails. So focus on the template first. When you truly get more in depth into email marketing and you want to write from scratch, they have a spot in here where you can do it from scratch, where it's just completely blank, and then you can build a template yourself, which is totally fine if that's what you want to do. But I would highly recommend you just starting with the templates that are in there and changing the fonts or changing the size of the fonts and everything. It's all in there on the panel on the right hand side, I believe. So just focus on the templates. The forms that they give you also have templates. I didn't create those forms all by myself. Those forms also have templates. I purposely picked Flowdesk because of the emails they look so nice. So I love it. But anywho, I'm not sponsored, by the way, by Flowdesk, but I wouldn't be mad at it if they did sponsor me, but this is not sponsored. But I do have a referral code that I'm going to leave in the description down below. So if you want to check out Flowdesk and get 50% off your first year, and I'm not even joking, they will give you 50% off your first year. I know this because I used somebody else's referral code when I first started a year or two ago. I used their referral code and I got 50% off my first year, and I was paying $19 every single month, which compared to other email marketing things, that's a pretty good deal. And it was unlimited. I know that they're getting ready to change their unlimited plan in November, and they're going to start maybe doing a tiered system. So I would highly recommend jumping on that and trying to get into the unlimited before they make that switch in November 28th, I think it is. If you want to snag that 50% off and lock in right now, then I would highly recommend using my referral link. It would help me out so much as well. I would greatly appreciate it. Link down below in the description box. Again, I may not be a email marketing guru, but if you have any other questions, please let me know in the comment section below. I would absolutely love it. Like, I am looking forward to getting some comments so that way I can respond to you guys. I would greatly appreciate it if you would also give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I think they have something new on here called hyping the video, like would really help me out. If you could also hype this video up, I have absolutely no clue how that works. But if you find out how it works, then I would greatly appreciate it if you could also hype the video. That would be so helpful because I'm really trying to like myself out there a little bit more. I thank you so much for tuning into today's video, and I'll talk to you soon.
Where she goes is mystery. There's a void inside of me, 'cause I know this